I know. I'm just letting people know what I thought of it.
It's the Trinity MMO Show. This week in the Trinity MMO Show, we have daily quests from your game masters. The main story quest about E3 reveals and thoughts. Our Escort Quest is like, should we focus on only one game at a time? And some world events. So welcome to the Trinity MMO Show. This is episode 53, maybe. I think Solomoni's counts might be a little bit off, but who knows? The Trinity, by the way, sorry.
Is it just a little?
What number do you think we're at then?
I have no idea.
So you're going to argue that it's not the right number, but you don't know what the number is.
Oh,
okay.
on my end, sure, yeah.
All right, for those who are fresh to this show, because we have been off a little while, the Trinity in the MMO, the Trinity in the show's name refers to a group of three closely related people or things of threes. And in our case, it's a three of threes. One, the first Trinity, the Holy Trinity, the God the Father, God the Son, the God the Holy Ghost, as Christians we are. The second is the MMO Trinity of tank, healer, and DPS, which we are MMO players. And third is there's 1, 2, 3 of us. That's a 3, and oh my gosh, that means there's 3 more bullets. It's a Trinity, and threes are coming out all over the place. Okay.
So shouldn't that be a quad Trinity?
No.
No.
But I did now. You are correct though. It was 4 items there. So.
Oh well. We did our best.
As always, we have our MMO RPG experts to guide you and me through this cloud of miasma of whatever is MMO game news. We have Solomon back, SK back. No, his name is not back. His name is Solomon SK, who is back. Our Coffee and RPGs YouTuber.
I guess I have to change my name to Solomon Back SK now.
And we have SirJahzeal.
Hello.
And then there's me, okay? Each week we quest with you with our top picks and MMOpinions. I'm not sure Yoshi, I think Yoshi's referring to Jahzeal's background because this is the same background I had before on the show. So I think he's referring to your background.
Ah. Well, it's better than looking at a green screen.
All right, well, here we go. It's time for some quests! Yes, it is time for some quests. This is where we, the game masters, kind of take some things from the MMO world we thought about this past week and we write it down, or not write it down, but we just spit it out at you, just pepper you with good ideas, and you can go away and mull it over, and then, of course, rewatch the video if you have to, okay? So, for those who like City of Heroes, who've been waiting for some kind of game to come back, even though you can play City of Heroes on a rogue server, Ship of Heroes is one of those games that's trying to come out for that. And guess what? There's a July beta, open beta, free beta, it says, but they're postponing the launch to 2022. I'm guessing COVID again, okay? But there is that. So go ahead and sign up for your opportunity to try the beta for Ship of Heroes. Sort of Legends Online is currently a free Steam demo. Okay, if you don't know what it is, it's an action MMORPG set in a breathtaking fantasy world with sophisticated combat mechanics and a unique storyline based on Chinese mythology. As you can tell, that was not my words, that was from the Steam. New World kept dropping stuff all over the place. A new video series called Legends of the New World coming, as well as a tour of an area called Eden Grove, which kind of looks like it's a high-end area to go hang out and do some stuff with. Looks pretty cool. So, it's coming up. July 6th is when the alpha ends. July 20th when the closed beta opens. And August 31st is when it launches. So they're getting ready. And the way it's happening right now, it sure looks like this is going to launch on time. E3, well, there'll be more of E3 in a minute, okay? So that's part of our main story quest. So if anything we're talking about E3 will come later. So now I'm going to pass the ball off to SirJahzeal for some of his daily quests.
That's all. I don't have anything.
Moving on.
So, yeah, E3.
We're not doing E3 right now.
I know. I'm just letting people know what I thought of it. Just do a freeze frame of my face there, and that's pretty much our opinion. All right, so let's talk some stuff here. Blessed Unleashed is finally releasing to PC on August 6th. If you even still remember that it was coming out this year, I don't know. I'd actually forgot about the stinking game myself. But it's coming out now. Finally, after a eternity of past delays, I wrote on here, which is absolutely how I feel, because it did. I honestly had forgotten that the game was even being released. But it's upon us at the worst time, and maybe
when's it coming out?
August 6th is what they said on MMO.
August 6th.
Yeah.
I'll play it.
Actually, it was on. I believe it was on one of our favorite websites as well, on Massively OP.
Oh wait, I'm just thinking about the fact that June 29th is WoW's finally having their thing come out. August is going to be New World. You know,
I don't. And that's where I was going next with this. I don't know where to go here because it was one of the games I was looking forward to. Got too many MMOs and RPGs going on right now, guys. Some of these we may have to get to later because we'll talk about it later. Ken and I have our plates full, and we're having 4 or 5 added to the plate just in the next month. So it's going to be crazy. But if maybe you out there, our faithful viewers, have a little room to add another iron into the fire, maybe think about it. It's finally getting released, and it looks pretty okay. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And speaking of things that are getting delayed all the time, World of Warcraft Shadowlands patch 9.1. Well, I was a little bit off. I said, "Oh man, they're gonna push this. It's gonna be probably late fall by the time that we see it." Well, guess what? Nope, June 29th. It's coming out. So you'll be able to do that. It's called Chains of Domination, in case you haven't heard of that yet. There have been a lot of data mined spoilers put out. Wowhead has it all over their page, YouTube. If you are into spoilers, I'm not going to do it here, just for respect to people that don't want the story spoiled at all. I have watched them myself because I'm not playing the game at the moment, although I am subscribed to the game. More on that later. I will go as far as say that the story seems to be retconning some more stuff, which, as you all know, that's been a pet peeve of mine with World of Warcraft, especially since they've retconned stuff even after they put out those $40 books that I bought called Chronicles. They've even retconned some of that and changed it to say, "Oh no, well that's not even right." So I'm getting a little perturbed that I spent that much money on those books, and that's not even true history or canon. So I don't know what to say, but it's coming. It's coming sooner than I expected, and hey, kudos for them for getting it out. And I did watch all of the data mine cinematics that are out now. Some of them have no sound, mind you. It's just images. So some of them you don't know what in the world is going on. But from the looks of it, it looks like there are some surprises thrown in. So we'll look, and us three here, we will keep you updated on after that comes out. And there's probably my food that I ordered 2.5 hours ago. Hopefully my son comes and gets the door. So the third part, it's the food we ordered 2.5 hours ago, guys. Sorry about that. I did cancel
cut this out in post, you know.
Yeah, sorry. Life, man. Single father stuff here. Okay. So I think the third one was on Final Fantasy 14. Yes, it has finally happened. Final Fantasy 14 has overtaken World of Warcraft in active players this month. And Doing a live show here, brother. My son's trying to talk to me. As far as this last count, it looks like there was 2.5 million people actively playing. This is not subscriber count or, you know, how many people are registered to play the game overall. This is just how many people were counted as playing right now. 2.5 million people as of, I believe this is from 2 weeks ago, actually. I did update the site and everything, and it's still kind of roughly the same numbers that we had 2 weeks ago. So I'm assuming it's still correct for Final Fantasy 14. And World of Warcraft has 2.19 million, which is still, hey, that's great. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby. There's other games like Guild Wars 2 and maybe even BDO and other games that would love to have those numbers that don't. So that's still good, but man, I gotta tell you, it's kind of an exciting time to see someone topple down the father of them all. Who knows? Who knows if this is going to be sustainable? If it's going to keep dividing and growing more, and World of Warcraft is going to stay stagnant or even lose more to them? I don't know. There are a lot of big streamers that have been World of Warcraft streamers for probably a decade now, who have been trying Final Fantasy, and some of them are even considering leaving World of Warcraft, which is just nuts to me. But as you know, I was a World of Warcraft dude that I've been playing since early beta, and I have pretty much gone to Final Fantasy 14 myself, which is shocking, I know, but it's just a better game. So, yeah, anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. I know that it's 2-week-old news, but we haven't been streaming for a while, so I thought I'd bring that up and say, hey, kudos, Final Fantasy 14. That I never thought that you would be the game. I honestly thought maybe ESO would overtake them, but it's Final Fantasy. That's awesome, dude. I will say when Blue Protocol comes to North America, though, you all better watch your heinies. I think that's going to do some damage. But
interesting, yeah. You know, what's interesting is like, because we know now that we have a June 29th date for World of Warcraft, you know, and people are in the I'm in the lull, so let's go find other games. Now, my son points out to me that Yoshi P, producer for Final Fantasy 14, has always said, look, you know, go and play other games. Don't just focus on us all the time, because, you know, you need to branch out, do other things. I'm kind of paraphrasing what I said, but, you know, try other stuff. There's a lot of good stuff out there, but then come back to us when we have a new thing. So obviously, the end of the year will be Final Fantasy 14 Endwalkers. That's going to be, and this, by the way, is supposed to be the end of the overall story arc of the original Final Fantasy 14 start. Doesn't mean the game is over. Doesn't mean there'll be more later on, but this is the end of the arc. And so for those who want this to understand the lore and the story, this will complete the story and will end the book. But yeah, I mean, the fact that we're playing Final Fantasy 14 is a good example. All right. That was SirJahzeal with his daily quest. Now we're going to pass the ball to our resident YouTuber, Coffee and RPG, Solomon. What do you got to share with us?
You know, looking at the MMO population tracker website, I'm not exactly. I'm kind of skeptical how they come up with their numbers, though. Like, they don't really tell you how they come up with the numbers.
Question. My son asked the same thing. He's like, where are they actually pulling numbers from?
Right.
Because not all companies are open, you know, to allowing you to see the number of players they have.
Exactly. Like, if you go over the, I know I'm sidetracking just a little bit, and I don't doubt the popularity of Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft, but I mean, there's some games in there in that list where I just kind of, I'm like really
old school RuneScape.
But not only that, even look at Dungeon Fighters Online. Like that game, in my opinion, probably has more players than World of Warcraft, in my opinion, because all the player base is in Eastern and Southeastern Asia.
Yeah, but
that's why people are like,
right? Is it?
I would probably equate it very similarly to Destiny 2 in terms of the level of MMO-ness, if you will. Yeah, but looking at the MMO tracker data, it says like, oh, it's difficult to track, subscriber numbers. We do our best by combining social activity, sentiment tracking, public statistics rankings, and other MMO populations estimates. And I'm not knocking you, SirJahzeal. I'm totally
No,
not. You know,
I had that question as well, and what I was told is they were going. I can't remember if I did this on one of our shows or I talked on my own stream about it. What some of these, because there's a couple of sites that do this, and they do estimates. And the way that they do the estimates is they take the quarterly earnings for the stock or shareholders, which I've told you guys I have. I actually have stock in Blizzard, Activision Blizzard. So not enough to be rich. This isn't like one of those $800 shirts, guys. I think I got this at Kohl's for like $10. So anyway, no, it's more than that. I think what they do is they take the earnings and then they look because the way that Activision Blizzard does that is they actually do separate from each game, and they take Call of Duty, all the 500 Call of Duties, and they say how much each of those made and blah 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 blah. So they go to World of Warcraft and they tell you how much they made, and then usually in that next box over, it'll tell you. I wish I could give an example, but I don't know if I saved the little thing that they sent me. It'll show you next to it how much of that money that they earned that quarter is from the shop. Well, if you that right there gives you a pretty good estimate because you can take the total, take that money away that was the shop because that we don't care about that. You take that and you go $14.99 about ish, and you divide it into that number and you can get a relatively close number for how many people are subscribed. Now of course that's a little bit wonky because for those of you that play the game and subscribe, you know that if you do 3 months you get $1 off, if you do 6 months you get $2 per month off, and so on and so forth. It used to be you could actually pay for the whole year, but they took that off. So there's a little bit of wonkiness there, and it's per quarter. So you're having an average out. It's not necessarily up to date this month. It's just going to be an average for that quarter. Now, I reckon that may be what they've done here. And you're right. There really isn't anything there. And maybe I should have had a little more skepticism than I did. I just got excited and
it does track
probably
something.
It does
and
track
it does
something.
show and it does show what's going on in Final Fantasy 14. The fact that people on WoW, some of the big streamers as well as us have moved over to Final Fantasy 14 while WoW's in this little lull. We've seen it for Destiny 2, these lulls, and so we're seeing it for World of Warcraft. The expansion did not hold people to stay on, waiting for the next one.
There is, I don't know if I shared this on there, would it be big enough for people to see if I shared the what I'm looking at?
Oh, not on my end, but you could.
Yeah, okay.
You can still do it. I mean,
I'll just tell you guys. Let me bring this up real quick. I'll put it on live and let me see if I take this off. So there is a chart. If you click on them individually, I came from this original page here. For those of you who are watching on a mobile device, I'm sorry, this is probably the size of a pinhead. But for those of you who have big monitors, maybe you can see in my little square here. So this is the page that we're basically referring to, the MMOpopulation.com, that has the 2.5 million and the 2.19 million for World of Warcraft. And I agree that there are things on here that shouldn't be on here. Destiny 2 should not be on this list. There's several others.
Check out the further adventures of Kennethan by liking and subscribing and watching me live on twitch.tv/Kennethan.
Overall Asia, there's no way they're counting them because like he was saying, at least 3 of these games are huge over there.
Well,
in
don't
South.
forget they're talking about there's a difference between total population and then concurrent views
Right.
or players. Okay, that's where
Uh,
Final Fantasy 14 saw its leap up.
But are
you
they
know?
counting the views from all continents or?
Oh, I don't know. Good question.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm going with this. Okay, so if you go here, you actually click on this. For instance, I clicked on Final Fantasy, and it does admit it's estimated. They don't tell you how they estimated it,
Right.
but it does say players per day this month estimated, and there is a chart here that shows daily what their number counts are, and it is fluctuating. There are pointers here you can click on that'll show you each day an estimated how many players. So it's not averaging out over a quarterly period. It is going day by day. That's nuts. But we're going to make this go on for hours if we keep on this subject. But it is very, I mean, it's very interesting, and it is history being made. If that number's to be believed, that's impressive. I mean, coming from a game that at one point during Wrath of the Lich King had 14 million players, I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty much the pertinent information, though, that I wanted to share with everybody.
All right, we're gonna pass back to Solomon now to have do his daily quests.
Really quick, you know what came into mind? The fact that you have games like Star Trek Online on this list, but nobody wants to mention that the game is only online and still up and running because it's supported by the top 1% of cash, the whales that play this game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So obviously that's going to skew the numbers according to their estimates or however they put the numbers together. But that's probably true for a lot of buy to play and free to play MMOs anyways, because I know Black Desert Online has its whales too that fork over tens of thousands of dollars per year on that game, helping us stay afloat. And so, anyways,
it's true. That's fair.
Let's see. In terms of MMOs, I mean, I don't have a whole lot. Lost Ark's finally been announced. I don't know if you guys mentioned that last week, but
we're gonna get into that a little more for the E3 thing. Yeah.
The release date initially was fall 2021, but they pushed that back like 8 hours later, apparently, to December 31st, 2021. Don't know why. Maybe there was a slip up, but yeah, if you go to the Steam page, it says December 31st, 2021, instead of fall of 2021. And so, I mean, we're still getting it this year, technically, barely. But you know what? I'll still take it because I'm sick of waiting. And hopefully this is something that will allow Amazon Games to kind of put its foot in the door, I guess, so to speak, because they haven't really necessarily had the greatest track record when it comes to gaming, unfortunately. So there's that. Also, what else?
Well, I thought you should mention Elden Ring. You had it on your show.
Yeah, but Elden Ring's not an MMO though.
Oh, it's not?
No, Elden Ring's a single player RPG.
Yeah. I missed that part. Okay, cool.
It looks cool though.
Yeah, Elden Ring, I mean, because you mentioned it, if you don't know anything about this game, think of something very similar to the rest of the Dark Souls or Demon Souls games that From Software makes. But the world is actually written by George R.R. Martin, who also, as you know, created Game of Thrones. And yeah, so if you like From Software RPGs and Game of Thrones, well, you got an awesome combination coming in your way. But anyways, those of you who grew up on playing Aeon Online, which isn't very many unfortunately these days, Aeon Online is going to be launching their classic servers, which is basically what a lot of MMOs are doing these days ever since WoW started to do it. So this is basically Aeon when it first launched. And as somebody who played Aeon for, oh my goodness, I don't know, like a half a dozen years. Oh yeah, I even the collector's edition box here and everything. I still hang on to this
like that. Now that looks familiar.
Not
the box.
Yeah, in terms of MMORPGs, like Aeon's definitely one of the games that I have a lot of fond memories with. It's probably one of the most longest playing MMOs that I've ever had. Yeah, they're doing their classic servers. Will I play it? Probably not. it was a very grindy game, even in the standards that it first came out, which was like, I want to say 15 years ago, maybe more or less. And I know there's a bunch of like there's Aeon 2 coming out, and I think there's another Aeon spinoff, but those are all mobile ports, and I don't have any desire to play those because of the fact that they're releasing on mobile, which is kind of dumb in my opinion. But again, that's just my opinion. So yeah, there's that. I'll give it a try for the nostalgic reasons, but it's not a game I'm willing to spend hours and hours and hours on because it was a very grindy game. Probably just as grindy as Black Desert Online, and Black Desert Online could be pretty grindy too. And yeah, that's probably about it in terms of MMOs, really.
All right, that sounds cool. We are now. It is time once again for the main story quest, where the Trinity Bros give you their MMO opinions. That's right, we're going to give you our MMO opinions because that's what we do here. The main story quest this week is all about E3.
Yay.
So we're going to caveat this for a couple of things, okay? So as you go into this E3 thing is one, this is not about E3 itself. The Monday, Tuesday stuff that was online is actually part of the convention itself going on. You know, the panels they did, whatnot, which also, by the way, included Nintendo Direct, which I did not watch, so we're not bringing that one up, okay? We are talking about the E3 stuff that happened before that, where it started Thursday with the Summer Game Fest with Jeff Kiley, to Friday when he had a Summer of Gaming with IGN, to Saturday with the Ubisoft Forward, as well as Gearbox, and then Sunday with Xbox, Bethesda, oh my gosh, Square Enix, PC Gaming Show, and then the Future Game Show. So, and because this is the MMO show, we're going to focus on MMOs, which basically I think turned into like a handful of games. So unless I miss something somewhere, I'm looking to my game masters here. These guys are more expert than I am. So we're type of this case. So we'll start off with the very first thing that was the Jeff Kiley thing. Of course, I love how the fact that he has this surprise guest. And you're like, really, Jeff? You've always had Kojima on. Okay. And he's calling in from Japan. You had it pre-recorded, dude. I don't know what to say about that, okay? I just like, I don't mind it. I mean, that's okay, right? But it's the way he hyped it up, okay? But anyways, in the first show, you run along all of a sudden, hey, there's this thing called New World. Okay, well,
No.
I'll be planning on getting that game. So it was one of the MMOs showed. But the first thing they did was, and you mentioned it on your, but if you're not seeing it, guys, you got to go to Coffee RPG YouTube channel, okay? He did a thing about Lost Ark. You know, apparently listening to the Massively OP podcast, this game was really talking about porting over in, I think, 2014. So it's been a while, but Lost Ark, a Korean game, is being localized and being imported into the West, and Amazon Games is going to be publishing it. So Smilegate is the other company involved with this. It's supposed to come out in fall of 2021. So sign up now for the Play Lost Ark for the beta. You know, just go to playlostark.com and you can
December
do it.
31.
What's that?
December 31.
It is December 31.
It's been pushed back.
Not fall. Oh, this one you mentioned.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they said that on E3, but it's been pushed back.
Okay, no, I think that's good enough. December 31, which doesn't mean anything. Whenever you put a date down, December 31st, that just means that. Oh, never mind. All right, so Lost Ark. I want to get your guys' opinion about this thing. I know you mentioned Blue Protocol, and I know I talked to my son one time. It's basically when it comes to the imports of Korean games, don't seem to always do well in the States. Somehow the import and localization doesn't work out well. I mean, I don't know where the Tryon World had that game with all of the land you can buy, and if it ran out. Arcade, thank you. Was that a Korean import?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
XL Games, Chick Song.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Lost Ark looks pretty. It looks very nice. It has an interesting play style and everything about it. So it piques my interest. Is why I signed up for the beta. So, SirJahzeal, what do you think about the Lost Ark that's coming out?
I got a chance to play it. However, it was early last year.
Okay.
And I think it's one of the games that I have said in the past I may or may not have done it through a VPN. Because like technically
Right.
North America and Canada we're not supposed to be able to get on there.
I'm calling the police on you.
And I had no idea because it's in their language, and I just don't speak. That's not my thing. English, Spanish, and Irish Gaelic. That's and a little bit of German, but but man, it's fun, man. It is super fun. Lost Ark. For those of you who have seen it, I know I've shown it a couple times. Those little snippets on my stream. There, everybody thinks, oh, it's another ARPG thing, and I'm like, no. It's isometric. It is isometric, but it is an MMO, and people don't believe me. But yes, it is. It's an isometric MMO, which, as far as I know, hasn't really been done like this before. And it was a beautiful game, graphically, music, everything. I can't tell you much about the questing and whatnot because I just don't. I don't know Korean. I wish I did. It probably would make it easier for my neighbors here, but man, I am really looking forward to getting my hands on it here and seeing what the quests were all about. I can actually read English some of the time. Sometimes I question that even. Now, as far as things not translating well here in the West, yeah, that has been the case, but you almost have to do it game by game because there have been different reasons for each of them. I mean, when you really dig deep into it and try to figure it out, and sometimes it's just, here in the West, we tend to not want pay to win kind of mechanics put into a game, which most Asian games have, no matter if they come from Japan or China or South Korea. It doesn't seem to matter. They seem to love their loot boxes. They seem to love their transmog purchases from the shop. They seem to love being able to upgrade your character through those kind of means, being able to pay to better your character. That's the way that they make their money. And they seem to have, Solomons calls them whales, and that is the term that most people use. I think it's a little mean, but it's true. It's true that these people there's no end to their pocketbooks, and I'd love to find out what they do to earn their money because I can't do that. And I know most of us over here in the West can't do that. We have so much money. We have a month, and 3/4 of that at least goes to utilities and whatnot. And that has been a problem. Has been a huge, huge problem. People would way rather, if you're going to bring an MMO over here, people would way rather pay their $15 a month and have the whole game opened up to them. And if you want to put transmogs into the shop or whatever, people are okay with that. But the pay to win stuff has to go. And we were just recently talking about the stuff that was going on with New World, for instance, what they were going to do with their shop and all the hubbub that happened with that. You can see how that went over. That floated like a lead weight. I mean, people were like, "Okay, I'm done. Cancel my pre-order. Where I'm not doing that." And so, if the game in its current state, there are pay-to-win features in the game over there. So if it comes over here with those, it probably won't do exceedingly well.
Right. What about you, Solomon? What are your thoughts on Lost Ark? I know you gave some thoughts on your YouTube channel, but what about here?
I think it is going to be. Where do I even start? So two things, because I think you briefly mentioned about Eastern games being ported over here to the West. I think MMORPGs is a genre that is unique by far compared to any other genre in the market because of the fact that it was pretty much a genre that put subscription uh, type of I guess a payment system on the map.
Yeah.
We still use it today. It's morphed to hybrids now with various games out there, and so therefore, will Lost Ark be successful in the United States or the Western Shores because of all the past failed Eastern MMOs that didn't really click with us? Well, I think you also have to look at the fact there's been a lot of Western MMOs that didn't succeed either, and it's just a matter of perspective, I guess, or even various fallacies. Maybe it's a or what do you call it? Oh, I'm forgetting my terminology. But anyways, you basically MMOs in general have failed more so than a lot of other games, in my opinion, just because again of the cost that it is required to have those games run, whereas other games, you just buy a copy, you play it, and you're done, and that's it. There's no upkeep for it, like servers and
Right.
whatnot. Um, so therefore, yeah, I could give you a list of all the Eastern MMORPGs that came to the West that failed, but I mean, there's a lot of Western developed MMOs RPGs that didn't make it either. As you mentioned earlier, City of Heroes and City of Villains. Well, you might say, oh, well, NCSoft made that, but that game never made it to the East. That was actually solely for the Western market. You also had games like Tabula Rasa. Again, same thing, NCSoft, but that game was solely made for the Western market.
True.
Star Wars Galaxies, and so there's a lot of them out there. So with that being said, can Arc-Age still be a very successful game here in the States? And I think I look at Path of Exile and see how I get that Path of Exile isn't tactically an MMORPG, although it kind of uh it lies between the blurred lines between a
Right.
multiplayer RPG and an MMO. It's kind of in between there. I would actually consider Path of Exile more so an MMORPG than Destiny 2. I know a lot of people
Oh
would
yeah.
like to. A lot of people probably want to fight me on that, and that's fair, but that's just my opinion. Again,
I got your
um,
back.
thanks. But yeah, given the fact that Path of Exile is a wildly popular game right now, and I think it has to do with the fact that it is an isometric RPG with online elements to it, and it's a beautiful looking game too.
Oh yeah.
So if you were to give Lost Ark a fair comparison to any other game, I would compare it to Path of Exiles for sure. And so I think there is definitely a market for that type of game. I think a lot of people who are fans of MMORPGs are looking for something a little different, especially with a third person camera view. I don't think if Arc or Arcade, yeah, I said Arc-Age. I meant Lost Ark. If Arc-Age came out as a normal MMORPG with a third person camera, I would have my doubts. I think it would have been one of those MMOs that would have came and gone like many other Eastern MMORPGs have done so in these past few years. Astelia Online is probably the biggest one. Lots of hype.
Lineage.
Yeah, Did you say Lineage?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Lineage too. Now that's
Mm.
why they're all moving on over to the mobile platform. So,
Right.
so yeah, I think that of in itself, because they're trying to take chances, which I definitely do support, and they're trying to do something different again, which I do support. I think that's why it's wildly popular in places like South Korea and Japan and even Russia, just because it's going against the status quo. And so yeah, will it be a WoW killer? Probably not. Will it be a Final Fantasy 14 Reborn killer? Probably not, but I still think it could carve out a pretty good niche
Right.
like some of these other MMORPGs does. Like, but for example, Black Desert Online, it's not going to be as popular as WoW, no matter how much some people may wish that, but it still has a sizable population and a sizable popularity here in the States where people do pay attention to that MMORPG and a list of other ones. So again, I think with that being said, because people are looking for something different, I think that's probably where the hype is coming from.
Nope, I agree with that. Yeah, that's why it
Um,
looks very beautiful too. What?
Before we go to Ken, I posted in our private chat there, but is it confirmed that it's free to play in the
Yeah,
West?
it's free to play. It's free to play.
Okay. Okay.
It's
And,
one of yeah.
I would say that's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure, so I wanted to ask Solomon. Um, And that's what kind of puts me off about it. Because you hear that and you just automatically think, oh no. Yeah, let me look at the shop before I download this and install it and get invested in it. And then it's like all of a sudden this pop up $29.99 and you can buy the
Yeah, but I say it's free to play, so you can try it out and you can always just cancel, you know. So yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So
They
those
do
Okay.
are
have the founders package though. The cheapest one is like
That's right.
$20, and the most expensive one is $100. I already bought one of them. I'm not going to tell you which one, but I already pre-ordered it.
Oh boy.
so those New World and Lost Ark are the only two things I saw that I thought in the Summer Game Festival with Jeff Kiley. Okay, unless I missed something. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons, Dark Alliance, is that the MMORPG? That's the D&D one. That's the. I'm not sure.
That's single
Okay.
player.
Okay.
Or
And then
I
Going
think it's
into
co-op actually.
going to
Sorry.
Summer of Gaming, you know, there wasn't anything in there either. It seemed like a lot of it was just a lot could be some multiplayer type games. Don't get me wrong with that, okay? And you can play with friends, you know, where it's like a survival RPG like Chernobyl Bite, sorry. But nothing really there that I stuck out as being a MMO. You go to Ubisoft Forward, Ubisoft doesn't really have MMOs per se. You know, I mean, I say that per se because there are some games that are multiplayer, but they're not necessarily that. You know, I mean, you can, I think, so there's not the Avatar Frontiers, the game that Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. I don't think anyone was asking for. It's an open world game, but I don't think it's going to be an MMO.
Wait, based on the movie Avatar?
Yes, it is. It looks
Why?
beautiful.
Why now?
Because the Avatar 2 is coming out at some point. I think it's
they're still
Yeah.
making that?
oh yeah,
They're
well,
gonna make several.
yes. The idea they were Disney was spacing out that every other year in December would be an Avatar movie, and the following years would
cow.
be some kind of Star Wars movie. Okay, but
Wasn't there 8 or 9 that they were planning
that
on
was
making at some
COVID.
point?
I thought it was like
Wow.
at least 3, but anyways,
Yeah.
COVID
Definitely
kind of messed up
spacing
with that a little bit, but they're still doing that. Gearbox doesn't have anything there, and then comes the Xbox Bethesda one. Now you can argue whether or not Fallout 76 is an MMORPG. I mean, after all, it's only 26 on the server, so I don't think it is. But the fact that so many people can play together, you know, at some point, you're really not going to raid with more than that, anyways. It could be like that. Anyways, they had some expansions coming out, Steel Rain and The Pit. The Pit is a 2022 one. Apparently, it harkens back to people who did The Pit in some older versions of the game. I don't know that. They did mention ESO, obviously, because Blackwood, as well as the next. ESO has this roadmap for the rest of the year, and what their plans on all the different expansion is Blackwood, but they're having different patches, and they've already named them, and what's how to tell the story going forward. So you have that. Halo Infinite, of course, is not a massive multi-online, but it has a multiplayer aspect to it, and I'm going to mention it again because I'm planning on playing it. Just considering that my daughter helped do the artwork in the multiplayer universe, and so in one particular area she did a bunch of the artwork, so that's kind of fun. And then the what I thought was interesting, I don't know, you can't call it MMORPG, okay? Forza Horizon 4, the latest one coming out November 9th, you're set in, it's a beautiful landscape of Mexico. And you can play with your friends. I mean, you can jump in with other players. You can play like your team versus another team. And it's like, I don't know if I would call it like that's probably more like, I think of more an advanced version of like Rocket League. But I find it interesting the fact that, you know, we talked about before in some previous shows about blurring the lines of MMOs. What is massively, right? And then, of course, multiplayer is pretty universal. And RPG, of course, is role-playing games. I mean, you could probably role-play Forza, but, you know, I thought that was interesting. But, you know, so of what I mentioned so far, anything you guys want to bring up before we get to Square Enix?
I'm still kind of disappointed. I really wish that 76 would do something because again, we've gone over this. It probably makes people tune out every time that you, Kennethan, that you and I bring it up, but we were really expecting Fallout, the MMO, and it just didn't deliver that experience. Now,
Right.
I will give it that I have not played even was it Wastelanders was the last one, right?
It
Or
might have been. I'm not sure.
I can't remember. I
Not
didn't come back for
playing
that. I
it.
heard it was amazing, and I hear what we saw on there. It looks great, but it's still. I was kind of waiting for them to go, and now up to 200 players or something like that. And nope, it's still limited. So I'm still waiting for a Fallout MMO because I think that would be amazing. But if I did want to, even though Forza isn't an MMO, I have played Forza in the past on the well, it's technically my son's Xbox. I bought it for him, but I played it on there, and it's super fun, and it's got great graphics, and it's one of the better auto games. But the thing is, dude, they put out new stuff every month, and it costs. Talk about whales. You've got to have deep pockets to keep up with that game. I know Grid 21 plays it once in a while in his streams. He's been like, "Oh, come play with me," and I'm like, "I don't have that much money, dude." But yeah, I again, really when they were mentioning there's new stuff coming out for 76 Fallout 76. I was Man, I was crossing my fingers. Please say something about you're increasing how many people can be on a server. Please give us more content. They are giving us more content, but they're still not bringing it any closer to an MMO.
Yeah.
The massive leap part.
Yeah. Solomon, you have
But
anything you want to add to
someday,
Square Enix?
No, no.
Because I mean, Solomon's expression is like mine too, because there wasn't a lot of MMO stuff. I mean, this wasn't necessarily E3 isn't necessarily the MMO place. Man, you got to go back to history. Okay, the Electronic Software Association hosts this electronic entertainment expo every year because you want to get the devs and the game companies in front of the media and the buyers to get ready for the Christmas rush. It's changed over the years. It used to be no fans would ever be involved, or sorry, never invited. But a couple of years ago, they first allowed for fans now to come in because they always have game stations to play the games. But because basically the devs want the media and the buyers to find out what they want. And so these are the games that are going to sell the most. Right? Obviously, consoles are big right now, particularly with Xbox and PlayStation, the new versions in the Switch. So there's a bunch of stuff there happening. PlayStation was not at E3 this year. Xbox clearly was, so was Nintendo. And that's why you don't see like MMOs. Yeah, MMOs have been ported over to a console, so you see that. But that's why I'm like, I guess I should be expecting of this, but kind of sad. Because an example is Square Enix. Square Enix, of course, talked about a lot about hey, we have Guardians of the Galaxy, we have Avengers, and we have Final Fantasy. By the way, we're redoing Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yay! And it's like, okay, you do have an MMO game, right? Nothing. But at the end trailer, when they're going a compilation of going over their show and everything else, you're watching and going, you had to pause it, you got to go backwards because you realize they showed Final Fantasy XVI. Didn't talk about 16 at all, and yet it was there. And then following up was Final Fantasy 14 Endwalkers. Now, mind you, they already had their Final Fantasy thing earlier, like a month or so before. And so we already saw what's coming to happen with Endwalkers. So they had his own little thing. So I get that, but it's like, no real mention about Final Fantasy 16 of 14. Okay. And then came the final ones, the shows being the PC gaming show and the future gaming show. And you do get Eve. Okay, yeah, it's like about niche games, very much a niche game. But now I have a thing called Eve Academy because there is that steep learning curve in Eve, and so they're trying to help with that. So that was interesting. They did that. Again, if it wasn't mentioned, but if you go to the like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show, you go to Steam Summer Game Fest, right? There is the Swords of Legends Online has a free Steam demo right now, so you can try that out. But then after that, I mean, there wasn't anything else MMO wise that I saw. for the rest of the show. I'm like, okay, fine. A lot of cool stuff you can do. I mean, Enlisted, they kind of mentioned Enlisted, which is a World War II type of sim, and it is a MMO. I mean, I don't know what you call it RPG. I mean, how do you role playing? I guess you could role play if you wanted to. You know, not quite the same thing quest wise. It's like all other games, like Battlefront 2 with Star Wars. You go in, you shoot, you kill, you level up, and yeah, whatever. So I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts about everything Square Enix and on for MMO stuff? Solomon, go you first.
Ditto.
Yeah, ditto. SirJahzeal, your thoughts?
I wondered two things. Were they going to say something about 16?
I don't know.
And
It
then
must have
they
been.
said, no, hold off on that, dude. We don't have enough to give them yet. Let's just. But what about the trailer? Oh, just leave that in there. The smart ones will catch it and they'll go, and it'll ignite their interest and get them talking, but don't say anything about it. Or was that they're what they were going to do all along? That they wanted to give us just a little M&M, like Elliot did with ET, just that one little M&M, just to get you talking about it. Because I'm like, there's no way they would have put that in a trailer and not said anything.
No, I agree. It must have been.
I didn't expect them, because they had just done a show. I didn't expect them to say terribly much. And Endwalkers is getting plastered all over the place right now, so they didn't really need to go into detail at this particular show. Because, like I said, it's everywhere right now. But it would have been nice to have something special for the show, just for people watching the show this weekend. Here's a little snippet of the changes we're making, or a new system we're adding, or something like that, or new mounts, or something. But you know what? I was happy. I know these aren't MMOs, but I love Final Fantasy, the series. I played. Well, I think technically 1 through 11 are the ones that I played. 11 being the first MMO, and 7 is like my ultimate favorite, which they just remade recently, and it was fantastic, by the way. And I'm looking forward to playing 1 through 6 again. But whenever I heard you on the other side, on the other side of the conversation when we were watching it, go, okay, yay. I understand. It just, that was the show, though. There was a lot of stuff just being remade, stuff just being re-released, with remastered graphics and sound, or whatever kind of stuff. And games that are new, but they look heavily influenced by another more popular game. That just seemed to be E3 this year. And so at that point that we saw the Square Enix segment, it wasn't shocking me anymore. And I think that's when I started getting tired and went to take my nap, wasn't it?
I don't know.
So I'll end it with that.
Yeah, but anyways, for watching on YouTube or here on Twitch, whatever your thoughts you have on E3, let us know. Wait to hear from you. Now we'll go on to our Escort Quest.
Walk with us as we escort you to safety, experience, and the adventure of a lifetime.
All right, simple, easy. We mentioned it earlier, the fact that we are struggling. We are MMO players, and there are a lot of MMOs out there, and it's very easy. So SirJahzeal and I had this plan. This plan was that we would jump into the Burning Crusade with World of Warcraft, because the Burning Crusade was being launched, and we're going to go, yes, we're going to run through the portal. Wait, what? You got to be level 58? Crud. I stopped playing my WoW Classic guy, so he was like 42, 43 at the time. Like, I'm not paying $40 to boost it up. All right, well, guess what? Elder Scrolls Online Blackwood kit comes out. Let's go play Blackwood. So end up doing that instead. I end up then turning off my World of Warcraft subscription. So it'll be turning off, and then it's like, we're playing ESO, where this is fantastic. And all of a sudden, Final Fantasy 14. What the heck is this interest in Final Fantasy 14? You know, I mean, I played the game. I've always said, you've had Lurker on the show before who loves the game. He and his friends just love it. They love the lore, the music, everything about it, the graphics, the style, the way. Love it. Great. It wasn't always the game for me. So I'm like, I played it, but not really. But Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 14. Like, what the freak is going on? Apparently, there have been several mainline streamers who got tired of WoW and decided to go Final Fantasy 14. So you got me, you got JahzealL, you got Super Shadow playing it last night. You got at the level 5 or 6. You know, you have got Fuzz. You have even like Regen, right? You have Shadeless. You know, Aki and Peach and his community are playing it. They have a free company. And you're like, what the heck is Final Fantasy 14 going on? So you're like, crap. Now, July, Crowfall comes out. Been kickstarted, been around for a while waiting. It's finally being released and launched in July. We have New World coming out in August. You have Final Fantasy 14 Endwalkers coming out in November. You know, and you have this Lost Ark, which is being ported over. You know, eventually, whenever Ashes of Creation, which is probably 2022, the Camelot Unchained, and there's also Chronicles of Illyria. We'll see if that ever comes out. And you're sitting there going, "Oh my word, I love it." There's a lot of MMO games, but you're sitting there going, "What do I do?" This is where long pause comes. So, JahzealL, what are you gonna do?
I've kind of rode this with you. Yeah, we were gonna do Burning Crusade. I was pretty hyped on it, and then kind of reality started setting in that if we were going to do anything in that game that mattered, that's end game. And end game in the Burning Crusade requires you to at least have 20, 25 people that are going to be on at the same time to go do a raid. Can we do that? Well, I looked around and it didn't seem like there were that many people interested in it at all. And then it looked like it was even just going to be Kennethan and I. So I thought, well, you know what? We'll just play it. We'll play it and we'll have fun. And we got hooked up with a couple other guys who were saying that they had a guild over on a different server, but that meant we either had to pay for a transfer or to level up a character from level 1. Well, TBC, the leveling is 30% faster, about. It takes 30% less experience to get to max level in TBC. So that's nice, but it's still going to take an age to get leveled up to max. And then again, what are Kenneth and I going to do at that point? We don't have a guild. We don't have this, that. These other two people were saying that they had a guild, that they had other people, that we could build it up and do something. But I played for like a week and I never saw either of those two guys log on into the game. So I said, this is weird. ESO, Blackwood was released and we were going to play through that. And I was waiting to play with Kennethan, and then Kennethan wanted to get caught up to me in levels, so he started playing some of the story without me, which is fine. That's fine. I still want to play through it, but we'll get to that. I, like Kennethan, I started hearing these little whispers all over the place of Final Fantasy XIV. Now, you all know my story. I've tried Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know how many times, probably 6 times in the past. I would get up to, I don't know, level 5 or something, and it's nothing but talking to NPCs and a little tiny bit of fighting mobs. And I said, not for me. I want to go out and kill stuff and collect stuff and be doing something besides clicking on text. It's just not my thing. I love RPGs, so you would think I would like that. But for some reason, with Final Fantasy XIV, I, in the past, didn't like it, didn't understand it, didn't get it. There are all these different systems that are totally foreign to me from other MMOs. Final Fantasy is its own thing, And there's a lot to it that even now, a couple of weeks later, I still don't know what I'm doing. Well, I was like, okay, are these people serious? Are they really? Is Fuzz really going to get on there? Is Shadeless really going to get on there? Is Aki really going to get on there? Lo and behold, not only did they get on there, but like a couple of them started streaming it. I saw Captain Pyre was streaming it.
Yep.
And I mean, and Ken was like, he'd been there and his kids have been there. And like, they were like, dude, we've been telling you for years, it's a good game. And I'm like, I just don't get it. And so I said, all right, here's the deal. If you guys really going to play it? And they all said, yeah. So I said, all right, I will force myself. I'm going to play level 50. Whether you guys stick around or not, I'm going to play level 50. And I will, at that point, evaluate, is this really that cool of a story? Is this really that cool of a game? Because there's people telling me it absolutely is. And I got to tell you, I apologize to all of you for being the naysayer in the group. I have not only got to level 50, I'm almost level 60 as of today. And man, I'm having so much fun, so much more fun than I've had in an MMO in a long time. Now, there is a lot of text in that game. You got to want to read.
Isn't it also tab targeting?
It is tab targeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And there's things about Elder Scrolls Online that I way prefer.
Well, so
What?
here's the
What's
thing
wrong?
is though, you just mentioned the problem we're having is what game do you pick? With so many
Yeah, that's
choices,
where I'm
what
getting
do
at.
you do?
What do you do though when you're in that position where you're like, oh, but I want to play Blackwood and I also want to play I
you
want
only
to play
have
through the rest
X
of
number of
this
hours
story.
in a day.
You've only got 24 hours a day. I can only play for 6 hours on a good day. And I've got 3 MMOs and an ARPG, Path of Exile, that I'm wanting to play through the story still. What do you do?
What do you do?
You just have to, I don't know, roll dice, flip a coin. I really don't have the answer because I too want to play all of them at the same time.
Wow, you
And
just got our NPCs killed. You said I don't know what to do, which means now they're lost. They're like, what do you want to do? I don't know. Just run ahead. Yeah, I'll get to if they're attacking you, I'll get to you in a minute, okay? But I gotta think of what I'm gonna do, okay?
Since this is an escort quest, I will say this. If you've got too many irons on the fire, you just have to do like I did when I was a paramedic. Okay, you get on scene, you've got a 40 car pile up on the grapevine from snow.
He froze, or I froze.
No, he froze.
I was like, I'm thinking maybe with why caused a problem, but he froze. He is just middle. Look at his face, man. It's like, God. That's gonna be our title card, okay? I'm gonna make sure that's a title card right there, okay? That face. All right. While we're waiting for him to come back, okay, we're going to Solomon. Solomon, now that you're back on day shift, I'm not sure if we can get back in the MMOs, right? But what's the solution to too many games, not enough time? All these MMOs out there, and what do you do with them?
Don't sleep.
Do what?
Don't sleep.
Don't sleep. Is that an effective answer? Have you just killed all of our NPCs also in the Escort Quest? Because,
what is sleep anyways?
Oh, the very thing you've been doing so many times because of your late night shift hours,
That's true. But see, then I would have just been playing games otherwise, right?
I guess, man, he is still frozen. I mean, is he even having to us in chat, Oh, he's gone now.
Oh, there's that.
So now I gotta go
my
to
stream.
2 people. Oh,
what is?
I
haven't even set up my my UI for 2 people now.
I do have for two. I have a 2 because of. But where's my other camera?
Edit this part out, I guess. I don't
video. Where's my video camera? Video.
know.
Capture is going to be this Cam. Oops, there you go. And I move it down to make it smaller, fit into the box here, make it bigger. And once this happens, then we will get to answering your questions again. Says you were talking about something. All right. What are you saying again?
I think he pretty much answered the question.
Yeah, see, my problem is that I first off, I was excited about getting back into ESO. I even told our morning song, the guild, I'm gonna play with you guys. Okay, I even jumped into watching them do some duels one night. And it's kind of fun. And like now I'm thinking like I should probably concentrate on Final Fantasy 14. Now, JahzealL did say something that was interesting in a chat the other night, was like this a give it a week at a time. In other words, week 1, let's say, is all ESO. Week 2 is all Final Fantasy 14. For myself right now, because of the way I am, level I am at the for 14, I'm higher up than them, so I can take the time. But man, Gutfuzz and JahzealL is just getting up there to where I'm at. But they're not in my expansion yet. They're just now gotten to Heavensward. And I'm in Stormblood. You know, and I've been enjoying some of the new music I've had. It was kind of interesting that I've always had issue with the music, but some pretty cool songs, as well as the... Oh, he's coming back. In my screen again. He is back. We have our title card because we have you frozen. What you're doing, right? And so that's going to be our title card, I think, you know. But anyways,
Right.
so I'd say, I was mentioning your idea, like doing 1 week ESO, 1 week Final Fantasy 14. So I also have the problem is that I vowed, okay, I vowed that 2021, that Train Thursday will always be a train game, not a, hey, I'm on the hype train, or look at this, you know. It's like, it's a train type of like. And then, of course, I've also committed to Valheim on Wednesdays as being part of the community night. So I have 2 of my nights already wiped out due to those 2 things. So your idea of doing 1 MMO per week is not a bad idea. I've been doing like 2 days per week at least. 2 days ESO, 2 days Final Fantasy 14. Not always streaming them, but playing the games. I mean, Final Fantasy 14 was tonight. From yesterday was ESO. Played a little bit of Final Fantasy 14 after stream with some Super Shadow got on and we're starting to level up. And then I play some Final Fantasy 14 on Monday and Tuesday when I don't stream. So I think that's the way to do it sometimes, is to balance it out. But what am I going to do in July when Crowfall comes?
Oh,
What am I going to do in August with New World?
Oh,
I was planning on jumping into New World big time, you know?
I'm not gonna lie. I have no desire to play New World anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, but that's for a different. That's a different.
We
that's
should
for a
talk.
different
Yeah, we
episode.
should get closer to that. We should talk about why. Because I mean, it looks like more and more information keeps coming out. It's like a pretty decent looking game, so we'll try it out.
Less enthusiastic I become, ironically. Maybe they should just stop with the news and just have it as a surprise, just for me. Don't say anything.
Well, I know Gutfuzz has been like, you know, yeah, will it be any good? We have Mifuki rating us with a party of 8. How's it going? Talking about
Oh, that's
MMOs, okay? So,
funny. I rated Mifuki from my thing, so I'm getting them back.
yay. So the question we're having right now, we're not quite done the show, we're almost there, but the idea was that we have too many games, not enough time. How does one balance out playing these different MMO games? Right now, I have ESO and Final Fantasy 14 on my play card, on my dance card. Let's do a dance card. And come next month, July is going to be Crowfall, and August will be New World. It's like, I have this problem. I'm not retired. Okay, I have a day job. So how does one solve the problem of too many? It does boil down to you kind of rolling a dice a little bit and saying you roll a dice or do a vote or a poll, and then just say, I just focus on one game. I literally turn off one game and play one game only.
Can I give the analogy that I was going to give?
Sure.
When
you froze.
By the way, Spectrum, they sent me a message on here. They're blaming it on the extreme heat.
It is hot in California, I hear, but it's only 70s up here in Washington.
It
so
actually,
nice.
It's gone up to 110 right now,
Oh,
and
my
it's
word.
8:16 p.m. That's what I get for living next to the Mojave Desert, right? Although that's 45 minutes away, but it's close enough.
It's close enough.
So the analogy I was going to give is when I was working as a paramedic on the ambulance, and I was given the analogy. I don't know if anybody heard it, so I'll just start at the beginning. That you have these massive pileups during the winter time, where you've got snow up on the
Right.
grapevine, and you get multiple injuries and whatnot, and different what we call tags. You've got the red tag and green tag, yellow tag, black tag, all that stuff. That is basically a way of triaging, and that's kind of how I'm treating this situation that we're in right now. With we already are sitting on several MMOs that we're wanting to play at the same time now, and we have multiple MMOs, and I have RPGs that I'm sitting here waiting for. I know Solomon is too. The rest of the year coming out that I'm wanting to play, and it's like, dude, I only play a game for like 6 hours a day at the most. That's on a good day. 4 hours usually. So it's like, okay, well, how do you play 3 MMOs in an ARPG in a 4-hour time slot? You can't. So I'm having to do a kind of electronic triage. Okay, which one I gotta figure out which one am I enjoying the most and
Okay.
which one's the least. Oh, that one gets cut off. Okay, now do it again. And when these new games come out, I'm not going to play Crowfall, I don't think. I don't know. I could be talked into it. I'm on the fence. I shouldn't,
I
though.
kickstarted it, so I'm definitely
Yeah,
playing it.
right, which is why I want to play it, because I want to play it with you. But I don't want to add another thing to the fire, because then New World, and I pre-ordered it, and I still want to play it. I'm with Solomon. I understand. Believe me, I understand. I don't think I'm going to stick to it very long, but I'd like to play it for its first month or whatever, and just have fun with everybody while they are playing it. And then like I said, we've got all these other games. I'm just going to have to do it like, hey, we're going to play this, but we're only going to play it, like you said, for a week. And then at the end of that week, I go, do I want to keep this on the list, or do I want to boot it? And if I want to keep it on the list, I have to boot one of the other games, because you can only play so many MMOs at the same time. You just can't. They're not designed to be played while you're playing another MMO. And that's what we love. Us three guys here love about MMOs, is they are so detailed and they have so much to do, that it encompasses your life, man. And it just gives you so much joy, because one day you can just do, raiding. Another day you can go do dungeons. Another day you can just do quests. Another day you can work on your trade skills, professions, whatever. Or discovery, or collecting like transmog and mounts and things. And there's so many things that you can like break up the monotony with in just one game, and it's really, they're just great for that. But when you go and try to do multiple, it's just, I would probably be pulling hair out right now, but as you can see, that's already happened. God's done that for me. I'm jealous of you guys, but yeah, that's my advice, is to just do that. You're gonna if you're like us and you've got all these games coming out, you're just gonna have to triage it and go, what's the best one that I enjoy spending the most time in, and what's the one that's least, and cut that least one off, and then just go back and do it again until you reach a point where you have time to do other things, like use the restroom, take care of your kids and your wife or husband,
mow the grass, go to work.
mow the grass, go to work, go to church, read your Bible and pray, and that's where I'm at right now. I truly am. The problem with me is I enjoy ESO for certain things, and I enjoy Final Fantasy for certain things, and I enjoy Path of Exile for certain things. And they're all different, but they're all beautiful and they're all awesome. And I just don't want. Yeah, I can put each of them has something that's on the bottom. It's not like one of them is definitely the worst. It's that, well, which one's worst is the worst of the worst. and cut that one, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah.
So right now, honestly, if people have been asking me, especially on my stream, like, well, what are you going to do, man? I'm like, World of Warcraft gone, retail and classic, Path of Exile on the shelf, and ESO right now, honestly, I think that's on the shelf until I have told people I'm at least going to get to Heaven's Ward, and then once I get to that chapter, I'll reevaluate and see if maybe I want to. Okay, now let's go back and play through Blackwood, and then we'll go back and do Heaven's Ward all the way through Shadowbringers.
Well, Heaven's Word, the Stormblood, and
Wait,
Shadowbringers.
Stormblood. Yeah. Okay, Stormblood. So play through that, and then just kind of go back and forth between those two. But you're right. We've got these other MMOs that are going to get put in the picture, and that's going to mess my whole theory up.
Well, that's where because I'm higher level than you right now in Final Fantasy 14, and I'm in Stormblood, and I'm watching you guys catch up to me, that I have time to play some ESO. I've been doing some of the old quests for ESO, realizing that I just finished up one quest in ESO that was, I forget what it was, like, oh, well, okay, I finished that one. Interesting. That must have been an older expansion. I did the same thing I'm doing with Final Fantasy 14. I just finished up a quest, a duty, and I'm like, oh, wait, that's like way back then quest. Oh my gosh. It was like original game quest I hadn't finished. It was a side quest. It wasn't the main story quest, because you literally have to do the main story quest, go through all the duties to get through it. So it was clearly a side one. Another example I just did, I'm not sure, I think it might have been Heaven's Word, but it was one where it's like a time travel thing. It was a very a steampunk type of thing going on, and it was really had more of a more rock music type stuff. And what's interesting was like the story about this woman, she fell in love, and then something happened where her lover got sucked into becoming a primal now, and what happened to him, and the whole story, and how they sacrificed themselves for the greater good, and like, yeah. And it was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting story, It was a side quest because it wasn't part of the main quest, but it was still a very much of a main story, I thought, in the game. So it was kind of fun. Okay. That ends our Escort Quest. We clearly... Shoot. You guys are off the cliff over there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you fell off the cliff there, okay? We kind of not led you guys in the right direction sometimes, Wasn't just you, SirJahzeal. It was also Solomon, okay?
We tried.
My NPCs got there okay. Not really. I didn't say anything, but all right. All right. So, World Quest, okay? We talked about doing these in the past. Did it already. You saw some of us stream the Blackwood event. And reminder of the fact that Crowfall is coming out July 6th. If not these dudes, I will be streaming Crowfall launch, okay? And we'll be doing this. New World coming out August 31st. That will be another one we're gonna do a pre-release type of thing for a show. We talked about doing Diablo 2 Resurrected. It's coming out September 23rd. That's one thing. I know it's not an MMORPG, even though it does have multiplayer. It got announced during this whole E3 about September 23rd. And then, of course, Final Fantasy 14 Endwalkers is coming out November 23rd. So stay tuned for these world events. Join us on these releases and on these launches. We'll be there, okay? If we do Lost Ark, we'll do Lost Ark. If we do Blue Protocol, we'll do Blue Protocol, okay? We will do these things. We want you to join us with us. We are more than welcome to join us. If you want to join us in Discord, wherever we happen to streaming it, we'll be streaming it and having fun and just having a blast. It was a lot of fun. We first did Classic, World of Warcraft Classic. Wasn't as much fun Burning Crusade because, again, we couldn't get in and a lot of people were not there. It wasn't as big of a hype. Now, I think Lich King may be. And if they're doing a 2-year schedule, we might see Lich King in 2 years. All right. Our quests are done. The dungeons are cleared. And the loot has been distributed. And the crafting orders have all been completed. So it's now time to go AFK. Or if you're playing BDO, AFK fishing.
So the only thing you go AFK on.
Whoever says fishing in games is relaxing is not. I tried fishing in these different games. You're constantly watching your. Oh, I clicked too soon. Oh my goodness, anticipating it coming up. Like whatever. Okay, so
But it's just like real fishing.
it's not relaxing. Okay, anyway, not for me.
Yeah, I
Video
never said
fishing, maybe
that.
it's better. What's that, Solomon?
No, it's not. It's not. It really isn't.
Okay. All right, Solomon, where can we find you?
Right here.
Right here, right now. You got him. Go to his Coffee and RPG YouTube channel, okay?
Like
Yes, he's got
YouTube.
What?
It's like he's not gonna mention his YouTube.
Eh.
It's going on YouTube anyways. I actually gotta trim this down actually right after this.
Well,
So
yeah, it's a longer video, but we've been gone for a while. We got a lot to say, but you can tell that Solomon has a brand new what's it called? Look, a brand new
That's some new duds.
yeah, new duds, man. Look at that, with the hat and the vest and the tie. And so I was like, hey, let's wear a tie. And so JahzeaL took me up on that, and you know, I wore a tie as my job when I first got out of college. Anyway, Solomon SK is on YouTube at Coffee and RPGs. Go there, see his videos. He's a lot of fun to watch. Okay, he cares about you. That's why he does this. You know, he does a good content, and always bring your beverage of choice because that's the way it goes. All right, SirJahzeal, where can we find you at?
At church, mostly. By the way, yeah, this is what I'm wearing to church tomorrow morning. So I'm just getting it broke in right now.
Broken, okay.
Getting the starch, working the starch out of it.
Well, you
know
start your
what?
ties?
Not
Who
the
touches the
ties.
ties?
No. I dry clean them. You
Oh my
kidding
God,
me?
your ties?
Yeah.
Would I ever dry clean a tie?
Dude, I go to a Baptist church. We eat a lot of barbecue stuff, and you get things on your tie.
Oh, okay. I just take them off, you know. But
I
right, sorry.
I should. So yeah, I'm streaming on Twitch still, so you can find me SirJahzeal, all one word, and pretty much back, not really doing social media anymore. So if you need to get a hold of me, do so on Discord. God Mode Activated mostly is where I frequent, and you can get a hold of me there. Again, just SirJahzeal, all one word. And still working on that music project that I've been talking about for a couple of months.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'm still working on it. We actually, Yoshi and Carlito and I have been getting together and
Getting the band together.
they kind of have talked me into actually, I think we are now for the third time, I think I've changed the subgenre. But it's going to be good. Yeah, it's going to be real good. Them two guys are both going to help me with post-production and mixing and stuff. So that's
Yoshi
stuff I
and
don't.
the dinosaurs.
Yeah, so that's stuff that I don't know a whole lot about. So, thank you, Yoshi and Carlito, for that. And be looking forward to that. And then the podcast, the Master's Metal. We've got, I was working on the 5th one yesterday, the 5th episode, and I'm going to put a whole bunch of them in there. That way, if I have any health issues or things happen in life, I've got enough in the can ahead of time that if something happens, I could still put them out on a weekly basis. So that should be probably in August. Those will start coming out.
Awesome. Thank you, Yoshi, for shouting out those two gentlemen. Thank you so much. You can find me here on Kennethan or Kennethan Live on Twitter. Okay. You also can find me in Discord, God Mode Activated. I'm the guy on the Bearded Knowledge. I'm the Boomer. And
you're also a father.
That's right. Tomorrow's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everyone who's watching this on Father's Day. And so we want to celebrate that. Fathers and mothers make the world go round. Without them, we are lost. And we can see what's happening when you see a lot of kids who do not have fathers in their lives, But we are so grateful we have the ultimate Heavenly Father, who is one we can actually anchor our lives to, and knowing that God loves us and will take care of us. So, yeah, anyways, that's where I'll be at. So there you go. That's it for the night. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for being here on this episode of the Trinity MMO Show. Check out the further adventures of Kennethan by liking and subscribing and watching me live on twitch.tv/Kennethan.